Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour podcast.
Yes, hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 215. Thank you for joining us tonight. Speaking of joining us, I think.
Damn it, Jim. It's good to have you back. I said you have a better background than a Russian basement you were in.
Yeah, it's
By the
nice to
way-
not be in a bunker, but I am still in a basement. I'm in my friend's basement, where I am going to be staying for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but hey, listen, you did share a picture, and I'll put it here, of your game room in progress. First things first, get bigger things.
Oh, yeah. Those half curtains aren't going to do the job. I got to get blackouts in there.
But, yeah, Chambers. So I know you've been busy with house shit, which is always fun. But how you been, bud?
Busy and tired. That's all I've been is busy and tired. Shit sucks.
Well, Chambers, what are you drinking to drink away all the pain and the work?
Well, Brian, we are recording this on June 21st, the first day of summer. So, Brian,
Oh, it is.
what reminds you more of summer than water ice? So tonight, I am drinking from the Neshaminy Creek Brewing Company their Rita's Fruit Brews.
Dude, I wanted to get those. How is it? Or is this the first time you're trying it?
The first time I'm trying it. So this is the Blonde Ale with Mango. So I took a couple sips before we started recording, and I was kind of like, whoa. So,
Oh, you didn't like it?
it's just something like, okay, it's getting
Save,
smoother.
fair question. Do you actually like mango?
I think mango is fine. It's never like a go-to. And I almost never get the mango from Rita's when I'm getting water ice.
Okay.
So, I'll drink mango stuff. Like, I always get stuck with the mangoes, seltzers, because my wife hates mango. So, whenever she gets her mix packs, I'm always drinking the mangoes after it. I'm like, this is fine. Yeah,
But you're not crazy about it.
Right now, it's a weird combo. I got to give it a few more sips and tries to see how I really feel. Because it doesn't leave a good first impression. I'll give you that. It's
And
like
did you
it's
say
like
you got a mix pack, or is it just mangoes?
just a 6-pack of mangoes for the beer.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's like weirdly, like it has like all the symptoms of a sour without being a sour. So it's really just like throwing my mouth off right now.
Okay. And you said it's a blonde ale, which I love blonde ales.
Yeah, I like blonde ales too. So that's not the problem.
I'm shocked they didn't just do a straight sour. They went blonde with it.
Yeah.
Was there other flavors?
I don't know. My wife was going in and grabbing beer, and she saw that they had Rita's, so she just grabbed me some.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's only mango right now, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong.
I feel like how do you not go with the classic cherry?
Yeah, you would have thought it would have been cherry first. Maybe they're saving that for like an actual sour. I don't know. Maybe that would make more sense.
Yeah. No, nice. Well, I'm very jealous. I feel like every other month I have an issue where I can't drink. But as I was telling Jim, I am on some heavy, ridiculous antibiotics that I cannot drink on. So I'm back to my LaCroix. It's not fun. I had a celebratory drink for my brother for his birthday, and that was a big mistake. And it was one drink. So, yeah. I am not drinking this episode.
The old green apple splatters, Brian?
I wish that was just it. It was just the terrible internal cramping and the crazy heartbeat that I was like, oh, this doesn't feel good. So, yeah, not fun times, Chambers.
Brian, die for the art.
See, Jim, we're both victims. You're dealing with house stuff. I'm dealing with that.
Well, when you're right, you're right.
Jim, speaking of right, admit it, you love the shirt.
It's not a bad shirt. It's a pretty good shirt.
It's funny because I got it for Father's Day, and I was like, why'd she get me flowers? Like, I didn't see the characters on it. I was like, God. And then I said, okay. So, yeah, I said, I think I need to get a whole collection of these.
At first, it definitely looked like a shirt that Nick would be wearing. Speaking of Nick, Make sure to check out our bonus episode as we review the Super Mario Brothers movie, which just dropped today. And, of course, check out his N Squared podcast.
Jim, part of me really wants to, in a compilation, release the cold opens of some of those. As a short or something.
And this is the tale of how Jimmy got canceled, even though he doesn't say a goddamn thing.
I mean, I just didn't hit record fast enough. That's all.
Lies and slander. All it is.
It was a great episode. But yes, this is definitely a Nick shirt. So you're not wrong.
Woo woo.
Now, Chambers, I know obviously gaming has probably completely been on a back burner for you with
Brian,
the move.
I have not touched a video game in 2 weeks. At all.
I believe it.
Except
Do you
for
have your Switch with you?
it's actually right over here, and like it's ready to be set up. But I just like have like by the time I get home, like basically my schedule right now is go to work, come home, go to work, go to the new house, paint, and then go to where I'm staying, and then like hang out for an hour and pass out. Rinse and repeat every day.
Yeah.
Or do either paint or do some type of house task that needs to be done. So, yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get into a lot of gaming anytime soon. We'll see.
Maybe it'll come faster. I mean, eventually, once you get done the painting.
I can play Race to Sun in the Toilet. That's on my phone. I can do that.
Have you? So, it's funny. I started it. It's just not the appeal of trying to get higher scores there.
Yeah.
But it definitely hasn't grabbed me yet. So is it getting you?
No, it's not like a super grab addiction. It's the thing I'll pop on and like try to do like 4 or 5 runs up and then be like, all right, got my fill.
Jim, if anything, you know what you should be playing when you're on the toilet.
Well, I know, but I don't even have my Switch out of the box right now. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, So I posted, even though they were already old, and I talked about last episode, so I won't rehash some of the games. But I actually did just recently beat that Metro 2033.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really well done. Like, I do feel like there's a genre of really good horror FPS games, like that old game Fear, which I never actually played.
Yeah.
This is a good one. There's a one called like Chernobyl Stalker, Chernobyl or something.
Oh yeah, that was like what, like 6-7 years ago that came out, something like that.
Yeah, and that was, I think, the same people who made Metro made that. But no, very inventive game. It's based on a very like wide-selling novel, the Metro series. So I kind of equate it to like a steampunk meets Fallout in Russia. You got mutants and you have unique kind of weapons. So I really liked it. The story was interesting. Not a super long game, but still at least 8 to 10 hour range ish. So manageable.
Cool.
But honestly, like you, with everything between it being Father's Day, my brother's birthday, all this other shit going on, I haven't had dick for time. I dipped my toes into that Callisto Protocol.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, like...
That game came and went.
Yeah, well, I got that for, like, Christmas. I was like, awesome. It was still in its wrapping. And I was like, well, let me just finally, because it's on my resolution list, I was like, let me try to start that. Really fun. It's a Dead Space knockoff, which is never a bad thing, but it just might fall to obscurity. I got to see where the game goes. Other than that, the only other game I know I'll definitely be doing this year now, which I wasn't expecting to, is the wife got me Luigi's Mansion 3 for Switch. So I enjoyed the first one. Now that I got it, it'll be my new poop Switch game. So
there you go.
But Chambers, you actually did mention Nick, and we do have that bonus episode. But we also have another bonus segment that will be posted. And we've said multiple times we're trying to work on additional content because we really love and appreciate the support from you guys. So, for $1 tier every week, we're gonna have a new crusty corner from Jim.
Yeah, so Brian had the admittedly good idea, now I regret it after just recording it, of me basically looking at Steam and going basically through all the smutty games and picking stuff out. Maybe if I have the time to try it, I'll try it, or at the very least we take a look at it and talk about it. So yeah, we're even coming up with a crust meter for these games. So the links will be below in the description. Goes to Patreon for the $1 and up tiers. So a little bit of everything for everybody.
And here's the deal. Since Jim, he is in the process of moving, some of the episodes, early ones, they may even be him pulling memories from games he's already played that would fit the crust meter. I'll say that. I don't want to ruin any surprises. But yes, all this is thanks to you awesome patrons. So Chambers, what questions do we have this week?
Patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question and we will answer in each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. Right, you didn't do too bad last week with your transition. Wasn't bad. Got to the point.
Shut up, Jim.
First up from Colin Y. Song. Could Avengers Infinity War be considered a Father's Day movie? Hear me out. It's based on a father that sacrifices the thing he loves most to save the day.
I mean, no.
Wow, not even entertaining.
No, that's an interesting twist, but I mean, did you even see that movie, Jim? Did you see any of the movies?
Yes, I saw Infinity War. I saw Endgame, I saw Infinity War. I saw them in theaters.
Okay.
I haven't seen any Marvel shit since then, though.
Yeah, I would not. I see what you were going. I like the twist you're putting on it, but yeah, I would not categorize that as a Father's Day.
And I'll say yes because I hate Brian.
Chambers, I do have one question. I know you like obscure shit, and I know you're also at the same time very. I mean, you've been anti-superhero movies for a while, but two movies. I know we talked the last time about the whole Blue Beetle thing, which I think
poor
actually,
movie does not have a chance in
it
hell.
won't make it. It won't make $1.
It's gonna make $10.
Yeah, but it. You know what? As someone who knows very little other than playing Blue Beetle in the Justice League 2, there is a trailer out for a Kraven movie.
I did not see the trailer yet. I know the trailer just came out, but I know a Kraven movie is coming. And you love Kraven.
No, well, that's the thing. I actually don't like him at all.
Really? I thought you did.
Of all of Spider-Man's things, like, as a kid, especially on a Saturday morning cartoon, I thought he was always kind of the corniest, because I was like, you have Venom, Lizard, Doc Ock, like, all these really cool villains. And I'm like, and then you have a guy that's just a hunter. Like, and I know he's got more than that, and the trailer explores that. Maybe I forgot that he's also almost superhuman-ish.
He's probably like Batman with the heightened senses and everything like that, or hyper trained and focused, blah, 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 blah.
Which, according to the movie, it's because a lion dripped blood into him. So, I don't know if that's comic correct. I don't know.
I don't know either.
There's parts of it that I went, I'm getting some weird Morbius vibes here. And,
it's the same universe.
I would just I would love to see, like, if that's something that would appeal to you at all. Because it is that more obscure.
No. I don't give a fuck about Kraven. I only picked Morbius because it was a meme for the goddamn bonus episode.
So I'm going to force you to watch Kraven now.
Good.
You did
Fine.
Morbius.
Wonderful. I'll sit through fucking Kraven. Bring it on.
But good question.
I'm afraid Kraven's just going to be flat, like, boring. Like,
well, they do tease an appearance of Rhino in it.
Oh, good.
And it's not Paul Giamatti in a goddamn terrible mech suit.
Well, shit, now I have nothing to look forward to. Thank you. Thank you for that.
But good question, Colin.
Yep, next up from Leo. Which counselor and Jason would you main in Friday the 13th?
Tommy Jarvis. I mean, he's the grown-up one. Oh, fuck, I guess that's technically incorrect because he wasn't a counselor. I mean, Kevin Bacon gets it pretty bad through the neck, but he also is getting laid, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I don't know if he's talking about the game or because he said what Jason too. So.
Oh, okay. Well, the game, I always mained as the whatever the goth chick was because her stealth was really high and her intelligence was high. Her stamina was dog shit. But she could stay quiet enough where, like, I could go undetected by Jason. As far as the Jason I liked being the most, it was probably the third one because he could run. And honestly, that made such a difference versus walking. But all of them are pretty good. Those were probably my two most go-to, though.
I never put enough time in to grind to really get a lot of the characters, and especially, like, really any of the Jasons. So for Jason, I just always had, like, the default Jason, like the one you start with. And for Counselor, it was, for the most part, always just be one of the girls to look at the butts. Probably played.
And you wonder why you have a segment called Krusty Corner.
Right, we know why I have Krusty Corner, all right? It's not a secret. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Well, then I want to hear you say that with more conviction other than just for the butts. I want you to say...
I mean, that's the only reason I have.
I want you to say in your best Krusty voice.
I just did it for the butts.
Oh, Chambers.
The girls with the boobies.
Damn it.
Next up from Jimmy Mook. Assuming Mortal Kombat is your favorite fighting game franchise, what other fighting franchises would be in your top 5?
Well, Chambers are you still holding on to Street Fighter being your favorite because of 2?
I honestly think Mortal Kombat's probably creeping to the 1 spot. Just because, Street Fighter 2 is probably my single... Super Street Fighter 2 on the Genesis is probably my favorite fighting game of all time. But, any other one I like, they just got way too complicated for my taste. So, I think I just like Mortal Kombat as, a game to play more at this point. So it's definitely creeping up there. So probably, I would have to say probably 1, Mortal Kombat, 2, Street Fighter, 3, Tekken, specifically the Tag series. I like Tekken Tag, a lot. 4, probably Marvel vs. Capcom, and 5... What would 5 be? I guess Soul Calibur.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Soul Calibur. And then I would probably go... as much as I'm not good at it, there is an enjoyment I get out of Smash Brothers. So
yeah, I do like me some Smash.
I'd probably put that in there, and then my 5th. Damn, there's actually a couple I would choose, but you know what? I'm gonna throw Injustice in there. Yes, I know it's just based off the MK engine, but man, does it run really, really good. So, yeah.
Right, your grammar's terrible. It runs well.
I'll show you good.
Well, someone's getting raped tonight. But
damn it!
Right, could you almost consider Marvel vs. DC Injustice 0 if they ever did a collection?
I don't think they would, because of probably how poorly that game was received.
Oh yeah, they would probably never revisit it. They would probably never do it again.
Well, here's the deal. What I don't understand is why they don't do it now. They got the engine the same for both games. So would be a great time for a crossover. They just can't do the shit they did with that game, which was really PG the shit out of all the Mortal Kombat characters.
Right.
You got to keep it still hyper violent, and I doubt DC will do that. But I don't know.
I don't know. The way DC movies have been.
That's true too. Yeah.
And actually, a lot of their animated movies, they really over the last 15 years sprinkled in a lot of adult content into a lot of their animated features they've been releasing.
Yeah, and the MK games always now seem to have at least a couple, Joker, Harley Quinn. They'll throw in some DLC of DC characters. And honestly, what is the last good DC game other than that you can think of? Well, besides Batman series, the Arkham.
Besides the Arkham games, yeah. I can't. 1, there hasn't really been any, and 2, I can't think of any.
Yeah, so they need some kind of lifeline because the Flash didn't do it for them.
So goddamn sure. even fucking throwing a boatload of money at Michael Keaton to put the cape back on didn't help.
Yeah, I think they
think the cape
overestimated his nostalgia.
I think the cape shit burnout's is just real right now. I think if this came out 3 years ago, it probably would have done a lot better. But at this point, I think everyone's just so goddamn burnt out.
Oh, yeah. I said it before. They hit a pinnacle with Marvel. Even the Marvel shit that I have watched, and I'll only watch it for free now, there hasn't been a single movie that made me go, this is really enjoyable. I don't give two shits about this universe yet. And I've watched the majority of them, these newer movies, and I'm I just don't care. The Nick Fury, I was actually really excited for Secret Invasion, because that was one comic series I actually read. I don't care. It's out now. With Nick Fury and all that.
All I've heard about it is people being pissed about the AI opening. I haven't heard a single thing about the show.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, that's like the Twitter thing that's been going on today. Like, apparently it was confirmed. Like, they did the whole like opening of the show, like the the title credits, with like, using AI for it to make the art for it, and so everyone's bitching about that.
Jesus Christ! But yeah, no. DC, DC, get back with Mortal Kombat.
DC, make something good. God damn it.
Great question, though. I like that one.
Yep. And last up from Sandy N. Jim, what are you most looking forward to when setting up your new game room? Brian, if you could change something about your game room, what would it be?
Chambers, you go first.
I like that I have like an actual like confined layout to do. Like, it's just like, it's not like how my old basement was, where like half of it was, my game room stuff just littered where I could fit it, and the rest was a basement. Like, this is a dedicated room, so I can the world is my oyster, Brian. I can do whatever I want. So it'd be definitely setting up the podcast area, as well as like, trying to make it, like your basement, your room kind of, like making it convenient for the gaming setup and recording setup. Maybe I could actually stream if I ever get a fucking computer, but I am actually really upgrading the internet too, for the new house. So that should not be a problem. Shouldn't. Knowing my luck, I'm gonna get fucked on something.
Get off that Sprint mobile internet you were on.
Boost mobile, Brian. Boost mobile. But yeah, no, it's just the fact that like I can kind of almost really plan it out. And like I'm gonna buy, like I left all my shelves at the old house. I'm like, one, they were all falling apart anyway. And two, it's just like, fuck it, I'm just going to get uniform, make it all uniform all throughout the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah.
I'm deciding between, like, actual bookshelves or, like, doing, like, almost like the nerd does with his custom shelving on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it would be significantly cheaper to just do the shelving. Like, the shit I got behind me was from Amazon. And
yeah, it's like $140 a fucking shelf.
Yeah. But if you went custom, it would be probably a lot more legwork.
It is a lot more work, yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to make sure I line it all up right, and knowing me, I'm going to fuck it up, and then it's going to be a little bit off, and I'm going to be...
It'll be the project that would never end.
I'm going to be hyper-focused, and then lose my goddamn mind, and then buy bookshelves anyway. We know how it's going to go.
But yeah, no, it is exciting. I think there is an excitement, like when you finally decide I'm going to redo, because I've redone this.
To cut you off real quick. Yes, everyone, the rug is staying. I am not getting rid of that rug. Everyone I've shown pictures to are like, that rug's got to stay. Yes, the rug will be there.
Yeah. In my room, I would have done all my wire management when I kind of did this new setup next to my computer, because I was at a point where like I just needed it, because I had to get rid of the old table and old wood because it had like mold or black mold or something on it, and I was just like in the middle of a rush of like, I just need to get something new.
Hey, Brian, you know all these health problems you're having right now?
Yeah. So yeah, wire management, like, and I have the shit for it. So one of these days I'm gonna have to disconnect everything and do it. That would be the number one thing. Everything else, I'm pretty happy with how I have it set up. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you got a pretty solid setup in there. But yeah, no, I can't wait to finally like get around to it. But that's actually what, like, the thing I like about it is like I'm painting like almost everything in the house, and we come to the room and she's like, "So you're gonna paint this?" I was like, "Nope, I don't fucking care." I'm covering it in walls of old plastic anyway. It doesn't matter what the color is in there.
I was gonna say, you're gonna have so many shelves and shit on the walls, like it truly doesn't matter.
Nope.
And guys don't care. Like, unless you went in there and it was pink, then you might do it. But like, what is it now? Tan or brown or?
It's like some kind of weird purple.
Is it really?
Kind of.
Oh, the picture was deceiving. But
oh, you know what? No, it isn't purple. Yeah, you're right. It's like a greenish, tannish brown. The purple's the carpet and the drapes and all that shit. But yeah, no, it's like it's like a weird brownish green. It's like diarrhea color. It's it speaks to me.
Yeah. It's your home base, Jim.
Basically, it feels like home.
Now, will you put a built-in toilet in there, or just a hole for you to poop in?
No. Actually, the crawl space is right there. I could get a bucket.
Just saying.
Yeah, luckily, unfortunately, unlike my old basement, the bathroom was not connected to my game room, but it's a short distance away. So it's in the den.
Nah, good question, though, Sandy.
Yep, and that wraps up the questions for this week. So once again, thank you to all the patrons out there for the support. Make sure to check the link below for your Krusty Corner segment of the week. And for anyone new to the show, check the links to all of our different tiers for bonus episodes, game review requests, movie review requests, and all the rest.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yep, and if you're new to the podcast on either iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, go to the other platforms, hit subscribe, leave some reviews. Everything helps.
Sir. Now, Chambers, we just hit a lot of positives, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of negativity in the world, and there's a lot of people that are mad. And some could say there's a lot of shit talkers, too, right?
Yeah, there's some shit talk going on. It happens here and there.
And, you know, a segment you came up with, which I always appreciate because it really lets me get a peek into the Twitter world that I don't usually see. What do we have this week for Gamers Mad, Chambers?
Yep, so this comes to us from a couple days ago. So this week's Gamers Mad comes to us from Trog the Hero of Time. Y'all talking about calling off work just to pre-order a video game? No wonder this world is fucked. Y'all priorities are fucked up on God. I mean, I play more games than most y'all, and I don't even make that irresponsible of a decision. So, Brian, this is sitting at 31 likes currently after about 5 days on the Twitter sphere, and 414 quotes. Bit of a ratio going on. The gamers were a bit triggered.
Definition of ratio?
That is a ratio, Brian.
Okay. First thing, can we address Chambers? So, if you click on this gentleman's page, he's from York, PA. No one from York, PA, unless they're trying their damnedest to talk this way, talks the way he does. So I imagine it's a very Malibu's Most Wanted, just in the middle of York, PA.
York, PA is like one of the most racist areas in all of Pennsylvania, and that's saying a lot for middle of PA.
Well, but I'm saying, like, yeah, and if you look through his Twitter and like how he responds, he's one of these guys.
Like, it might all be a bit.
Replies to everyone. I don't know. I don't think he's that clever.
Well, he's a small account. It's not like he's a big account. So, like, yeah, almost nothing he has like takes off in any way. Even this is the most that I've ever seen of his stuff take off. I didn't even know who he was before this tweet.
But okay, so let's address it. Number one, let me say first of all, we've said it a million times. It is way too easy to trigger gamers, and I get it. It's very appealing to do that because you're just getting that interaction. And if he is doing it just to kind of call people out, if he's doing it as a bit, whatever, good job accomplished. But we know there are people who legitimately do have this feeling, and I feel like one of the best quotes I saw is like, well, you can really tell this is somebody who doesn't have a job with paid time off. Like you can tell he's probably just working at a McDonald's or something. Like, you know, and that is the truth right there, is that I think most people that do it, not necessarily all of them, but like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to use time off and get paid while you're playing a video game? It's pretty goddamn fun.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's just, I look at him like, it's gotta be bait. And I saw so many people quoting it. I'm just like, oh, God, not again. We get it. You only, like, you know, we only need a few accounts to be like, well, if you're responsible through PTO, it doesn't matter. Like, we get it. It's obvious. God damn it.
I mean, okay, Jim, let me ask you this. Be devil's advocate. Put aside the extreme cases of like someone who truly might be addicted to gaming and whatever.
Actually, real quick, I'm surprised by the lack of blue checkmark dunking on this guy.
Trust me, there is definitely some.
Oh, there is some, but it's not like as much as I'd expect to see.
Yeah. But here's my question. So like, is it irresponsible? That's not the word I'm trying to use.
Immature, like, maybe?
You know, is it? I mean, here's the deal. At what age? I mean, it's so tough because I don't ever see it as a bad idea. Here's the deal. If you're using majority of your time for that, I think that's probably pretty silly. But if you're like, you know what? A new game came out that I really couldn't wait for. every year, like we do a Call of Duty, or if you're doing it 2 or 3 times a year, I think that's fine. I think if you're doing it every single month and using your time for it, that's maybe a little much. But then again, if you're someone who doesn't go out and go on vacations or do other things and it's your fun, who the fuck cares?
Having a job's gay, so you should just play games all the time. I think that's what you should do.
Yeah, I mean, play games when you can, right?
No, do it instead of everything else. Brian, what in your life can make you as happy as beating a game? Come on now.
I mean, sex is pretty good.
Nah.
Jim's over it.
All the other shit that surrounds that shit.
That's why you're moving the houses, right?
Let's see. How many minutes into this episode are we?
Oh, Chambers. But no, I think, okay, let me ask you this. What is something that's cornier or worse for using PTO other than games?
Yeah, if you want to, like, take a day off work and, like, put a shitload of time into a game, yeah, of course, fine, whatever. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't know, maybe if you're, like, taking off to go see a movie by yourself on it, like, the day it's released, like, maybe that's a little weird. I'd consider that a little bit more consumery than,
Is that weird or sad?
Yes.
I know you like to toe lines, Jim, but okay, let's put it this way. So
No, I'm not towing a line. I'm saying both are weird.
Oh, okay.
It's weird and sad. But yeah, like what else would I like? That's like, irresponsible. You know what? Maybe if you're like camping out for like a fucking Funko Pop or something, or like you take off work to go hunt down Pokemon cards, maybe that. I would say that's definitely worse. That's even worse than seeing a movie by yourself.
Yeah. I would lump that in with any kind of you're camping out for an item that isn't necessarily for an entertainment thing. Like you're saying, like a collectible that you can't do anything with. That's probably where I would go with you too on that one. But this comment,
Brian, what if you took off work to go on a submarine to go see the Titanic?
right. But the controller, like, shut up.
I mean, the memes are glorious.
Oh, they are, but once again, I was burnt out on controller memes within 2 hours. I was just like, all right.
Oh yeah, luckily they've gotten way darker since then. So there's still fun to be had, Brian. And now I can put these tags in the YouTube comment description.
Jim, here's a hot take or a opinion that I saw get bashed that I hate to say I kind of agree with, but somebody wrote something to the effect of like, the shit that's weird is when 2 adults who don't have kids every year go to Disneyland.
Yeah, every year that's a little bit much.
Everyone I think should get a chance to go to Disneyland, but I know people who do have kids, and they're not going there for their kids because they always go. But like, yeah, year in, year out, like no kids going to Disneyland over and over.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Every couple of years, yeah, fine. Like, shit's gonna be moved around. You're gonna have new shit to see. Like, that's cool. Yeah, I don't get the every year thing, because it's like you're literally seeing the same thing you saw last year, and it's not like that shit's cheap.
Yeah,
and they don't change up the shit enough to make it like worth going that often either.
And here's the deal: I get it. Like, some people were like, because I think it was because like an athlete or someone was like, I really do want to go to Disneyland, like that old saying. But it's like a lot of people shit on it for people at any age without kids going. But I get that because it's like, yeah, probably most people, like my parents, couldn't fucking afford Disneyland. So you go when you can actually afford it because it costs a goddamn arm and a leg.
Maybe is that the catch-22 where the only way you can go is by not having kids, but then when you go without kids, you look weird?
Yeah, well, yes, to answer your question. And I think the thing I find worse is when the ones that don't have kids actually complain about a thing meant for kids.
Oh, God,
like,
yeah.
That's where I'm like...
These kids were crying in the line for this ride. You're Disney.
Yeah. Or like, hey, this doesn't fit me because I'm too big for the ride. Like the thing we talked about before. I'm like, not meant for you.
Right.
Like, so this comment just made me think of that. But yeah, I wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've known some, like, it's weird. Disney adults can be a weird thing. For some, it's just like, all right, that's your thing. And then there's some who are just like, really, like, they never shut up about it. It's like, man, like, you don't have anything else going on, do you?
You know what? Everyone has their thing, but
They do have their thing. I have a Krusty Corner segment on the goddamn podcast. Who am I to talk?
Exactly, Chambers. But I say let them be happy. But that is one hot take that I kind of agree with. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. And I can't say I fully disagree. Hey, baby.
Fuck. Well, Jim, I got another.
I don't even
question
remember
for
what the
you.
hell we were talking about before that came in. So,
Good old Trog the Hero. We covered him enough.
oh, that guy. Yeah, fuck that guy.
But Jim, I have a bigger question for you.
I just consider everything at this point to be bait. So, like, I know I start, like, unless it's something, like, legitimately, like, I can't even get that mad at Kotaku and IGN anymore, because I'm just like, okay, like, you're just trying to get bait clicks. Like, I know I came up with this segment, and I'm like, oh, this is such a good topic to talk about. But then by the time we get to it, I'm just like, man, I don't fucking care anymore.
I mean, Jim, would you say you're a master of the bait? You had to think about it for a second,
No,
and that's why
I
it's
didn't
worth
have
it.
to think about it. I knew it instantly.
I will do it in slow motion. Your eye, there was a second of like, what? And then you blinked. And that took way too long.
No, because I was like, he really went for it. He really went for that.
Jim, just think about
It
it.
broke me a little bit, Brian. I expect better from you. That's the problem.
Just think about it. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm not thinking about it.
I mean, I'm going to slow down the footage, and it's going to show that you thought about it.
This is my JFK moment. This is my back and to the left.
Did it feel like... Never mind. So, moving on. Chambers. New question for you. It comes to us from timeextension.com.
Yep.
Does video game history have a Nintendo problem? Very interesting article. It was written by Damian McFerrin. I actually really like the way this is structured because it gives Nintendo all the praise everyone knows about. It talks a lot of points about just, the impact it had, yada, yada, yada. And then it kind of starts going into, is there a little bit of rose-tinted glasses, or is there an over-exaggeration of Nintendo's importance where it overshadows games that might have performed just as well on other systems, but for some reason, history is acting like they didn't do well, and that, it's just now you have content creators that are regurgitating the same shit as everyone else, or trying to get those easy likes, which is Nintendo products. They get the views, the clicks, and nobody wants to talk about Croc from PS1, Jim.
But I love that this was a hot topic last week. And I do love that, all this started by someone talking about fucking Croc of all games. Like, you want to talk one of the most forgotten mascots of the 5th gen? Goddamn Croc of all. And I know the backstory that Croc was originally meant to be a Yoshi game, and then Nintendo said nah, so they just made their own game and released it. But yeah, it is interesting to say how it sold just as many copies as Banjo-Kazooie, basically.
Yeah.
Even though there is that sliding scale of being one's on a system with 100 million units sold, and the other one's on a system with 30 million units sold. And the article talks about this in the talking points.
I think Croc is a funny example, and to your point, it is a funny thing to take off this conversation, but is it incorrect? I mean, I do find it more interesting, the Super Mario clones, Zelda clones, Metroid clones, all those things. There probably are arguably better versions of all those games, but that just don't get talked about. And do you think a little bit of it is because it's like you and I have said many times. You ask the generic question, what's the greatest band in the world? At least with our generation, 90% will probably say Beatles. Not because they believe it, just that's what you say. Whether and you can have very differing opinions. I know music's more subjective, but with video games, if you were to say, hey, what's the best, you even say RPG. people are going to throw in Mario RPG for that shit. You say open action game, like, it's always going to be Nintendo dominated. And as part of that, just because you want to make sure you're in agreement with the masses or the perceived masses. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting article, and like the discourse around it was like kind of interesting because, like, I mean, on this podcast, we always just like, you know, we poo-poo the micro consoles in the UK and shit like that, where like we talk about Brazil still loving the Master System after all these years, but there is something to be said. I mean, there's an old saying, like, history favors the victors. And like those are the ones who get the ones who get talked about the most, the ones who quote unquote win. They're the ones who get to write the story about everything. So, I mean, it is kind of a product of Nintendo being that first like real juggernaut in gaming and being the first one that, you know, at the dawn of the internet having forums and crap like that people were really waxing nostalgic about. So, I mean, you're talking about the early 2000s, but by that point, it's like, you know, people our age talking about the PS1. So that's why, like, you know, it really started to kick off of, like, how much people talk about Nintendo and love Nintendo and all that bull crap. But, I mean, if you talk about, like, accounts out there, like, Stika, I think he's from Portugal. Like, he talks all the time about how, like, Sega was gigantic in his upbringing and Nintendo was, like, you know, a very minimal factor. Or even the impact of all the micro consoles in, like, the UK and crap like that. Sure, it's a way smaller market, and, you know, you talk about gaming markets, like it's the USA and Japan, like they're 1 and 2, or, you know, 1 and 2. So of course that's what's going to get the most press and the most sales. That's what people care about the most because that's, you know, that's where it all comes from for the most part. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's also like, I agree with the article. It's like, you know, we shouldn't just poo-poo something because it wasn't either as popular or, you know, as big. Everything kind of has a place.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it's more important for consumers, and especially, you know, hey, I get it. If you're a content creator and you need something that has clickable views, obviously going with Nintendo is a surefire way. I mean, for us, even random times, if we do something Nintendo related, especially on a podcast, it will get randomly more views. So there's a reason to that. But I think if you are someone who is truly interested in video games and whatever, that's why you just go out of your way to try and find, as everyone calls, type in the word hidden gems and you'll find a million videos on whatever. And even that's a worn out term by now. But it is one of those things where no matter how we try to frame it, Nintendo is going to always be the juggernaut that is the reason games are the way they are. Who knows where it's going to go in the future? The Switch is obviously doing amazing. Their next one could be a flop like the Wii U. Who knows? But yeah, they're never going to not be recognized as the most formidable thing.
So,
like,
right,
kind of ever.
At the bottom of the article, they had a little poll. And of course, right now, it's split down the goddamn middle. But let's answer it ourselves. Yes or no? What do you think, Bri? Does history have a Nintendo problem?
No. I think it's the same way as what you said. Someone has to be a victor, and for video gaming, especially early 80s, early 90s, it's Nintendo. I do think that generations that were born later will not have that nostalgia, and yes, they might just repeat what their parents said or what they see other YouTubers do. I think that will fade away, and I think newer consoles will give way to that, like that Nintendo had its heyday. And it's past.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to... I mean, we're from North America. The NES saved video gaming here. So, yeah. It's tough to say no. Or it's tough to say yes, you know?
Yeah. And as much as we shit on Nintendo, I still can't say yes, so...
Yeah, we like to shit on Nintendo, and as much as I like weird shit, and I would much rather talk about, like, the Genesis or the TurboGrafx, or even play them before I'd play a Nintendo system. Like, it's like, yeah, Nintendo has its place in history as, like, you know, one of the top dogs. I mean, honestly, at this point, if you look at the history of gaming, it's Nintendo and Sony. And it's Nintendo, Sony, and Valve because of Steam. Like, you can't say it's not those as, like, the top three.
Yeah. I mean, and like you said, who knows?
Everything else has its place. There's other things out there that are cute. But, I mean, what other juggernaut has had this kind of longevity that Nintendo's had?
Exactly. I mean, Atari would have been the only thing that could have semi-competed, but we know where that's at now. So,
right, you can get a hat with speakers in it. It's so
yeah.
cool.
But
Right. You can buy a brand new game for your Atari 2600 for $60 goddamn dollars.
Yeah. Well, this is one of those things where I say put your money where your mouth is. If you're someone who really wants to go out of their way to disprove Nintendo being what they are, then find the other games that are comparable to all the titles that you're annoyed of hearing of all the time, and see if you can find it. That's what I would say. Do your own research.
There do be some sour grapes out there.
Of course. But that's the joy. But that's why I like articles like this, because it truly wasn't just a blast piece of Nintendo. It was just asking a good question, and I like that. So
yeah, I'm actually very up and down with Damien McFadden's stuff, even when he was on Nintendo Life. But he did good on this one. Good for you, Damien.
Yeah, I don't know who he is, so good job. All right, Chambers. Speaking of juggernauts going at it, as a little update on the Microsoft Activision buyout.
Yeah, this is like an offshoot update.
This is very
Even when we don't
offshoot.
talk about the actual acquisition, we have something to talk about.
This is a fucking weird one. It comes to us from Axios.
Yeah, actually, just quick shout out to our buddy Crooked, because he sent us a link to this today, so we would have missed this if not for him. So thank you, bud.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. But Microsoft is pushing back at the Federal Trade Commission's attempt to block Activision. It's in litigation, obviously, and interesting article came out. Now it's 90% redacted, or actually all redacted, but basically there was a comment made between the head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, what a name, and Microsoft's chief financial officer, Tim Stewart, where he's saying that Microsoft has the intention to put its main competition, the Sony PlayStation, out of the market. Is this fucking news? Is this something that, like, and it was apparently said probably equivalent to, like, someone Google chatting, like, yeah, let's hope we put our enemies out of business. Like, that is the point, right? Like, are we missing something? That would be like a UFC fighter saying, I want to knock this motherfucker out. And they're like, well, you intended to hurt him. Yeah. What else do you do when you're in business and you have competition?
Yeah, like, seriously, like, I mean, yeah, because this is that weird offshoot lawsuit, including the FTC, where it's like, it was kind of brought on by a group of gamers suing Microsoft for the acquisition, because they don't want, like, a monopoly and crap like that, and somehow they got these files. And it's just like, I mean, yeah, the first thing I said when I read that was like, well, yeah, I mean, that's capitalism. You want to crush your opponents and have the market share and make all the money. Now, I mean, is it a dumb thing to do on, like, an email or an official company chat? Like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be doing that, but you're also thinking I mean, maybe if you're that high level of a company, you should always be thinking, maybe at some point I shouldn't. I should watch my P's and Q's because, you know, something, I could be audited or some shit like that. But, yeah, I mean, I still saw this and I went, yeah, it makes sense. Why would you not want to do that?
And granted, it wasn't a chat. I was incorrect. It was an email. But, you know, the Microsoft is basically saying, hey, this was an internal exchange and it should be sealed. Like, and the exchange happened in 2019, 3 years before they actually put a bid in from Activision Blizzard. So it's like, if you're going to go that far back and just open up every internal dialogue, like, what if they're like, man, Sony's a bunch of pieces of shit? Like, you can't use that as legal litigation against them. And now it's out for civil court or just civil opinion. They're going to leak shit like that, which is not correct because it is supposed to be redacted. They can't use it in the case, but now that information's out there and people will do with it what they will.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it is a little bit of a smoking gun because all the opposition to the acquisition is, you know, they're just doing this to have a monopoly. So when you have something like this where they outright say, we want to crush our competition, I mean, it's good in their favor. It's up to the judge to decide if it's, you know, admissible or not. But it's just like, if you think about it from, you know, a common sense business standpoint, it's like, yeah. Like, if you run a sandwich shop and there's a guy down the street who also runs a sandwich shop, you want that guy to close so you can have the only sandwich shop.
That's where I can't get over it, where I go, is this really like a shocker? I don't know. Because it is especially, it'd be different if they sent out like a formal memo to all employees, like, we are going to get them off the market. This is two guys talking shit and just saying, like, we want to get them out. Okay.
It's like,
so.
Yeah. I mean, and these are two, like, high-ranking guys, too. So it's, yeah, like you said, it's not like it's like a company-wide thing. Modus operandi, crush the opposition, you know, take down the proletariat, like all that kind of bullcrap. It's just like, it's what you expect to hear. There's probably way worse in there, too.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I think that's a...
I wonder how many, what do you call it, emails of like, oh man, look at the ass on Becky in accounting, that they just go, God damn it.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I don't know. We'll obviously keep following it as it comes up. I mean, Microsoft has had some wins globally. They're going through with FTC right now. We'll see where that leads, but
yeah, I mean, if you like want to, you know, if they're making the argument of like this acquisition is premeditated monopolyism, it's like, well, I mean, like, yeah, I mean that is kind of like you can look at it and go, well, yeah, I mean it makes sense. They want to be big.
Yeah.
And well, like this shows it's premeditated. It's like, well, of course it's premeditated. They fucking did it. Like it's not like they like tripped and fell. And it's like the old Eminem line, Bri. What happened? Tricked, fell, landed on his dick?
Exactly. I don't believe there's really anything that's not premeditated to a certain degree. It's like, well, how many minutes, seconds, years do you need before it becomes premeditated? You know, and an acquisition of a giant thing like Activision, I'm sure it's been in the works for a while, like you're saying. So, but, you know, premeditate's a weird word. But
yeah, I saw that and I was like, that's interesting, but it's also, duh.
Yeah, well, exactly. What they think they were going to reveal. I really hope we can share the market equitably across all of our competition.
What if they just came across something like just out of left field, like something super racist? They were just like, it's like, we're going to be big and us and Sony are going to take down those goddamn redacted.
Yeah. Who knows? At this point, I think this trial is going to be very interesting what it does pull out. So,
right, it's been infinite content so far since it started.
Chambers, but speaking of content, and I just covered the Microsoft Direct myself last week.
Yep, good job on that, by the way. Hey, Brian, for shame not knowing that Clockwork is part of the venerable Clockwork Knight series only on the Sega Saturn.
I don't give two fucks.
That's kind of what I expected.
But no, we're actually, we're recording 2 days later, and you know what? Good thing we did, because Nintendo Direct was released today. So we're actually very topical for once with our podcast. And yeah, Chambers, I know you and I both watched it. Before we jump into what was revealed, your first thoughts. Good, bad, kind of meh?
I thought it was a pretty solid Direct overall. Like, it's better. It's one of the better ones I've seen recently. Like, it's not like the one, like, 6 months ago, 4 months ago, that was like 7 farming sims. Yeah. Like it was like 7 farming sims and like DLC, and then they said Tears of the Kingdom, so everyone went. So it's not like it had like a true tentpole kind of game for it. It had like a lot of cool stuff that was announced, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I mean, there were a couple games I went, ooh, okay, like I'm kind of excited about that, and then there was a lot of shit where I just went, I don't care or why, but. We can run through some of it. I think the biggest announcement has to be Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Finally, we're getting a new 2D Mario. And I'm of the opinion, not saying that 3D Marios are bad, they're great games. I still, just like Sonic, believe Mario's better in 2D. Just my opinion.
Yeah, like, it's cool because, like, the new Super Mario Brothers brand is kind of played out. Like, there have been so many releases of it over the past, 10 years or so since it started. Yeah. So this definitely, it still has that same vibe, and you can still have the same 4-player co-op going on, like you could in New Super Mario Brothers, from Wii onward. But it just, it looks like it has a different vibe and a different feel. Even, along with the aesthetics, it looks, less floaty. It might be a little bit more, tight controlling like the older Mario games. So I'm interested because I haven't played any of the new Super Mario games in long ass time, but this one looks pretty cool.
Looks cool. I really hope Chris Pratt voices him.
After the movie, I'm fine with it.
No, but it really does look good. I think, like I said, I think that's probably the biggest win from it. But
Really, you think that is? Because I all the hype is behind Super Mario RPG.
Well, here's the deal. I think the nerds for Super Mario RPG are just more vocal. I think from more of the casual and I'll just leave it at casual fans, that Super Mario RPG obviously clicks with a very specific group. I'm kind of that opinion, like you're just remaking the old game, but I'm also all as I've said about Resident Evil and things, I'm all for remakes. But I do feel like, doesn't Nintendo kind of have a bad track record with their remakes? Of being like, hasn't the remakes, the HD ports and whatever of like Ocarina of Time and all the N64 things, didn't they have issues with those?
No, for the most part, they've been good or better than the originals.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, Ocarina of Time had a ton of better stuff. People have some problems with the Majora's Mask HD remaster because it changed some of the mechanics of some things. Like Zora, you have like limited swimming, and I think it changed some of the physics for like some of the puzzles. Skyward Sword, people seem to like that. The All Stars collection was just like a cheap upscaling, so that wasn't great. But like Metroid Prime Remastered was really, really good from what people say. It's for the most part they're pretty much liked from what I can tell. And most of them, like Wind Waker HD on the Wii U, put in so many quality of life improvements for the most part. So I think for the most part they do a good job with them.
Maybe I'm wrong. Well, here's the deal. I'll admit it. I've never played this. I'm probably not going to play it because what does shock me is it's coming in at $60. I mean, I guess it shouldn't shock me.
You know what? I mean, talk to our buddy Crooked again. He's got a point when it's like people gave so much shit to the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters for being $15 a game, where this is one game. And yeah, I mean, they turned it almost like 2.5D-ish. I mean, it's always on that. It's still in that weird isometric view, like the original game was, and it's definitely a lot smoother. And they added in new cutscenes. I think it's going to really remain to see like how many quality of life improvements they throw in there and how much extra content they throw in to see if that's going to be worth $60. $60 is fucking ballsy.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, to cut you off real quick, it also is really interesting though because of like the licensing hell between, because it was made by Square too. So like they've had to come to an agreement with Square to get this released and put out on there. It was a thing that like people have been wanting for years, and it never happened for like 25 years. It's almost never had any official ports, so it's cool. It's cool that it's coming out, but whew.
That's what I'm curious about, though. I feel like it is that unique like RPG style, which is one of the reasons why I probably won't play it. Like, I don't like that style. I do understand that it's still a very loved game. I really want to see how that breaks out and like how they make their money. Now number one, it's a Super Mario on the Switch, so of course it'll do fine. But I would love to see that compared to other Super Mario titles and other games, because is that RPG style really just loved by our generation growing up? Will the new gen really want to be getting this game, or is it going to be a little too in the weeds nerdy for them?
And it seems to be like an RPG that people either really like or really hate. Like
I've heard it's a very like it just takes forever.
It's like any RPG because they're all awful.
Jim, you mean you're not gonna get it for the story?
Brad, this might be one that I eventually get and just sits on the shelf.
Yeah. Surprise.
Shocker, I know.
But you know what? I for everything I've said, I'm shocked at the price, yada yada yada. I'm still happy because there obviously is a lot of people who've been waiting for this. So good on Nintendo for finally giving something to their fans, even though they're going to overcharge them for it.
Yeah, it's cool they made that work.
Yeah.
All
right, Chambers.
Some of the other announcements, like Detective Pikachu 2. I obviously never played the first one, so I don't really care. Looks cute.
Yeah. The Metal Gear Solid Collection, Volume 1. That's cool. I do think it's cool. I'll say that.
It's definitely cool. It's like they did a big HD collection back in
I have it for the 360.
360 and PS3 gen, yeah, that had
Yeah.
more games in it. So, I mean...
Which is weird. Yeah, they're calling this one just Volume 1, so obviously they're going to release it in volumes.
Yeah, there's some milking and some bullshit going on here, so you're not getting as much value, but, I mean, if you want it... I mean, honestly, the only way I'd get around to them at this point would be playing it on my Switch, so I'm kind of tempted, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, same deal. I got that HD collection. I have it. I still haven't... That's a series I just still haven't... As a kid... I think most people who had a PS1 played Metal Gear Solid, and you were like, oh, I can smoke and I can do it. Like, awesome. But I never actually finished it, and it never grabbed me, so.
Yeah, I never finished it either. I think I got to the second disc, but yeah, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and then I just never went back.
Just didn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough. Like, it's a jank-ass game. It's a 1996 or 7 game. So it's a little tough to control at this point, but I mean, it's cool. But yeah, like you, didn't grab me. Yeah. Like Tears of the Kingdom, they announced DLC and Amiibo, whatever.
Who the fuck, like, talk about milking. Amiibos are the ultimate milking thing.
Yeah, WarioWare. I mean, I like WarioWare games, so that's cool. I'm not gonna go like rushing out to get it, but it would be cool to have WarioWare.
Speaking of games that who cares, fucking Pikmin 4. And
Right,
I know that people love
Pikmin.
Sure. And I feel like someone like you who love Lemmings would love Pikmin.
You know what? It's weird that I never put any real time into Pikmin. Like outside of playing it at like Kmart kiosks back in, you know, the early 2000s, I barely put any time into the series at all.
It looks cute for people that like that stuff. It's a cute puzzle game.
I like my real-time strategies.
Zenkov.
Damn it. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually probably a little bit more interested in the HD versions of 1 and 2. Just like if I'm going to dive into it, maybe I'll start with those.
Start it.
Yeah, and if it's not like a terrible price, I'd go for that. I think that was the shadow drop for today. They're just like, oh, this is available now. So
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, there's like, oh, yeah, just go get them if you want. Chambers, actually one question back to Mario RPG.
Yeah.
Do you think with the remake coming out, will it help reduce the cost of the original?
Actually, buddy of the show, Super Nintendo, he had a decent thing. Because he was like, I don't think so unless they release a physical version. Because if they do that, then it might. But if not, then it won't.
Gotcha.
And I kind of agree with that. Or it builds more hype and more people get into it and then they want to go back and get it and then more people start buying that.
Yeah. Well, how many videos are going to be the comparison between the original and this and da-da-da-da-da?
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a ton of that. People are going to milk the shit out of it.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to throw on my conspiracy hat. I think people who have the game and are hoarding it for the purpose of reselling or trying to keep the value up, they're going to say, this is why the original is better and you should try and go get it.
People like me.
That's right. Jim, do you care at all about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet?
Haven't played them. I hear they're... even though for all the shit they got for their performance at launch, people say they're probably some of the best Pokemon games out there, but I haven't gotten around to them. I'm not going to get to them anytime soon. So I especially don't care about their DLC. And I don't care about Mario Kart 8 DLC. I love Mario Kart 8, but god damn it, holy crap, just make a new one at this point.
Will they ever at this point? Like...
If they do like a new Switch and they do another Mario Kart 8 for it, I mean, it's gonna sell, and they probably could milk it again, but that'd be such a bad look.
I mean, I think the best case scenario is that when they get a new console, that's when it'll drop. I hope that's what they're working on in the background.
I know, but like this whole time, you kind of like because. When Mario Kart 8 Deluxe dropped, you're like, okay, it's Mario Kart 8 from the Wii U with all the DLC at the time. But then it just kept going.
And then they just kept adding and adding and adding.
I mean, it's shocking.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe that's a big reason people pay the $50 for, the expanded online play. I don't know.
Yeah, but like you said, it's going to make money. Now, one I am really excited for, and I had talked about when I was talking about Luigi's Mansion, is Dark Moon Remaster is coming to the Switch, which that friggin' game has been landlocked to the 3DS. I don't have a 3DS. I have no interest in getting a 3DS. It's a game where I know a lot of people wanted it because it's the second game. So your only options previous to that were Luigi's Mansion and Luigi's Mansion 3 if you were a normie who liked consoles. So, yeah, I'm happy. We're getting a remaster for that so I can finally play that.
Yeah.
And then a Princess Peach game, but who cares about that? Come on.
Man, that could be cool. Though people seem to really like the one on DS.
Jim, don't.
What? I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to rush out and get it, but it could be cool.
Don't. Just don't. That's all I'm saying.
Nintendo has not missed with their first party shit in a long time. So, I have faith.
don't.
I have faith.
Just don't, Jim.
Right. Girl boss.
Speaking of a game that's like, I feel like it's way past its prime and who gives a fuck? Vampire Survivors. Love the game. We said it's addicting as shit, fun as shit. It's finally on its way to Switch. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, obviously for me and you, it's just like, oh, cool. I mean, but why would you ever get it for the Switch when it's free on mobile and it's the exact same game?
That's the $1 million question, right? Like, it's free on Game Pass. It's free on your phone. I don't know if it's on PlayStation, but like, yeah, there's a million other ways to play it unless they make it. Are they gonna make it free? I don't know.
That's a good question. Like, are they gonna be some shit dicks and be like, oh, $10? It's like, fucking really?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what it comes with that. But that was one where I went, meh. Dragon Quest monsters, don't know.
Yeah, I mean, throwing Pokemon mechanics into Dragon Quest. Okay, whatever.
Fine.
I've never played a Dragon Quest. I don't care.
Speaking of another one I actually am excited for, Jim. Again, another 2D Sonic Superstars. So, as I have a son who is obsessed with Sonic, he saw that and he was excited. I said Sonic belongs in 2D only, or the best Sonics are in 2D. I'll say that.
No, you're right. The only good ones are in 2D.
Yeah. So
I've played enough 3D Sonic at this point. I'm not giving any more chances. Fuck 3D Sonic. It's awful. All you Sonic fans out there who are like, oh, no, you weren't there to appreciate it. You can't be dreaming. No, it sucks. Stop.
And I like that it's like, you get like those specialty, even further special abilities and superpowers. And it looks cool, like a return to form, but it's all polished and good for whatever. And you have 4-player local co-op, which is kind of cool too, because that's the first time they've ever done that.
Yeah, it's new Super Mario Brothers, but for Sonic. And you know what? Good idea. Rip that off. I'm fine with that. I mean, my daughter, if she sees this, she'll be excited. She loves Amy Rose, so that'll probably be her main anytime we play.
Yeah.
But I think this is one I could talk her into playing with me. So this will be a buy. That'll be a buy for me.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. Batman Arkham Trilogy, it's another one where I'm like, it's been on everything. Why? It's been re-released. I don't understand why they feel the need. Is Switch just now getting anything they can? They're like, we're bringing it to the Switch.
Right. Switch has been getting anything it can since day one. All right.
But I like how it's getting released and then and they're going to release it with the DLC, but it's kind of like I doubt anyone's first time is going to be doing it on the Switch, is my only point. Because why would you do that? Like, the game isn't going to perform even as good as it would on the 360 or some of these other ones. Like, are you really going to downgrade the experience of the Arkham games with your Switch? Maybe. You'd be silly if you did.
Hey, all that convenience.
Star Ocean. Jim, I doubt you care anything about that.
Nothing I'll ever play, but people love the Star Ocean game, so good for them. Cool.
Yeah. Same with Persona 5. I mentioned this at the Xbox.
You know what? If I ever play a Persona game, it would because this is a tactical, I would probably play. Like, I have Persona 5, and I got it for Christmas because it was on like a flash sale. I was like, oh yeah, cool. Maybe I'll never get around to it. But I actually really do like tactical games, so I would probably play this before I play any of the other ones. And like the Persona games are like 100-hour fucking RPGs. Like, I don't have the time for that shit.
No. Yeah. Next one I actually definitely will be playing is the Myth Force. So it has that very Dragon's Lair, as they keep saying, the Saturday morning cartoon, but it's a roguelike. I know you can definitely join with your friends I think up to 4 people. I don't know if you can definitely do it online. I think you can, but
You have to. There's no way you can't. That would
Yeah.
be stupid if they don't.
But this is one of those games. Yes, I'm going to let the art style dictate that I'm going to get it. Same way I did with Cuphead, and Cuphead turned out being amazing. I actually am getting into roguelikes ever since the past like 2 or 3 years, and it just looks awesome. So this would be one I would definitely go out of my way to try. I don't know if it's only for the Switch, though. I feel like this is a game that will go on other things.
Yeah, that seems like something that would go on everything. Because, like that Sonic game's going on everything. So, outside a lot of Nintendo shit, this isn't all going to be exclusive stuff.
Well, I guess I'm dumb because it has already been out on Steam. So
Oh, there you go.
it's been out since 2022. So,
Oh. Is that a bad sign that I've never heard anything about it then?
well, that's what I'm wondering.
Uh-oh.
Maybe am I wrong? No, it's okay. Okay, so Wiki, you lied to me. You son of a bitch. So they said the initial release date was April 20th, 2022. I just went to Steam's and they said game coming soon. I don't know who's lying to me, but I'm going to get it no matter what. Let's put it that way. Unless I hear absolutely awful things.
Right. After that, we didn't do this in order. We're just doing it off this one article to make it easy on us.
Yeah.
Mario and Rabbids DLC, whatever. I liked the first one. I want to eventually get around to this one, but I'm not in any rush to.
Yeah.
Splatoon, never touched, don't care.
Yep. Same with Dance the Night Away.
Yeah, Just Dance 2024. Who the fuck cares? Palia, free-to-play adventure sim, don't care.
If you use the term cozy, I don't give a fuck already.
Penny's Big Breakaway. That actually kind of does look pretty cool. Like, it's, 3D mascot, collectathon platformer. Looks like it's got charm to it. It's made by the people who worked on Sonic Mania, so it's got some good bones to it. That could be a sleeper.
Jim, aren't you tired of collectathons at this point?
I am. I'm not in any rush to goddamn play it. I'm just saying this could be one that, like, people wind up really liking.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get around to this. I'm so burnt out on collectathons. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll never play it. But
Yeah. Fae Farm, so a farm sim with fairies, don't care.
don't care. Silent Hope sees 7 Wonder.
Don't
Wordless-
care. I skipped through the shit through that fucking preview.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't care about Headbangers Rhythm Royale. I know what they're trying to do, but
Nintendo always throws this shit in. Like, they throw, like, shovelware into their Nintendo Directs. Like, yeah, it's a party game, and it's goofy, and it could be fun for the whole family. No one's gonna buy this.
yeah, it's shocking they highlighted it, but they did.
Yeah. Gloomhaven looks kind of cool. I've never heard of the tabletop game. So.
Me neither.
But yeah, based on a
something
tabletop
that
RPG.
would be, it looks like something that would be up my alley, but to be honest, there's just too much shit out there, so I'm probably never going to get to it, but it looks interesting.
What was that hard drive article from today? It was like Nintendo fans excited about 14 games they'll never get around to playing.
Yeah, well, exactly.
What do you call it? Manic Maniacs, again, fucking shovelware party game, don't care.
Yep. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2.
I hear so many good things about the first one. I've never touched it. I mean, it looks cool. It's probably fun.
Yeah. Hot Wheels games are fun as shit, so good on them.
Yeah, and that's all they really talked about in this article. Bri, was there anything in here that they talked about that you remember being like, oh, that's kind of cool, and then you didn't hear anything? Or actually, I think they talked about everything in this article. They just did it in a weird way.
They covered it all.
Yeah, they did. All right, well, fuck me then.
So yeah, for my biggest takeaways, excited for the Sonic, the Super Mario Brothers new 2D game, and that Myth Force. Those are probably the 3 I walk away going, I know I'll definitely play those.
Yeah, same here for the most part. Yeah, there was nothing that was like, even for like my weird niches of crap that I was like, oh, look at this weird thing that I want to play. But yeah, it's like the big name titles, I was like, yeah, that looks cool.
Oh, and of course I will throw in Luigi's Mansion, the second one.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
just
no,
say
that's
Peach.
cool that it's coming from the 3DS and it's not like just dying on there.
Yeah, exactly. So, no.
I mean,
think
the
I think
3DS
it
was a successful system, so it's not like it died on there, but you know what I mean.
It died on there. But no, it is one of those where I think they did much better with this Direct, which if we're being candid, unless they're announcing a new system, the next Direct is probably going to be a flop.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what they could say at this point besides Metroid Prime 4 that would get people excited for a Direct.
That or the hint of the new console. That's it.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. So, now let us know in the comments. What are you most excited about? Did you think they did good, or was it a flop? Let us know what you think. All right, Chambers. We haven't had any voicemails in a little while, but we do have a new one tonight. So let's.
Yes. 267-991-0156. Make sure to get those voicemails in there. We love hearing from you guys, for the most part.
So I don't know who this
TJ.
is. I don't know who this is. It's a new number I don't think I've ever seen before, but let's hear it.
Oh, all right. All fucking right. It's Spaghetti, guys. And I thought that the show was called Drink a Beer and Play a Game, not Drink a Beer and Play with My Fucking Emotions. Why didn't Travis win? You didn't even give him a fucking chance, Brian. I didn't see any hairy ass posted on your Instagram story. And honestly, I think, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, don't clip this out of context, please. I think that this election was stolen, and we need a recount of the vote. I don't even know how it works. Travis should have won everything, because he's a beautiful man. And you two are too, I guess. Bye, boner.
Well, thank you, Spaghetti. I'm not sure who that really is.
I feel like I should know who this is. I'm fucking blanking right now, so I'm sorry. But he's right.
No.
Travis and his beautiful ass, Brian. How dare you, sir?
Listen.
You just hate redheads. That's your problem.
Listen. I respect the approach, but he was directly copying, and I can't give it
comedy, parody, sex appeal.
I mean, for you, yeah.
Possibly a better angle. I don't know. Some good lighting. I don't know. You tell me.
Jim, you take that. I'll take the original. How about that?
Goddamn deal. You drive a hard bargain.
And in all fairness, it's not like we gave the original the winner title. We gave it to who posted the most consistently, who gave us a lot of different versions. And maybe if Travis had given us a whole spread.
That almost sounds like a participation trophy, Brian. That's like me being an all-star back in baseball because I showed up to every game and every practice. Whereas Travis just came in one time and he hit a grand slam.
But are you going to argue the quality of the other contestants who won?
Of course not.
So there you go. This is multiple greats versus.
Right. I think that's a sign of a goddamn good competition when there is clamoring in the streets
versus the
people being
nightmare
robbed.
that I saw.
Nightmare. The gift.
You know what? You know what Travis can be crowned with? Jim's crusty crown. There's the winner right there. You're welcome, Jim.
Right, some could say that's the true prize. That's the best prize of all.
Oh, the more we've talked about your crusty corner, the more I'm thinking of ideas of the picture we're going to use.
God damn it.
And Travis will crown you with Jim's picture. We'll put a little crown on it and say, you won this.
I like them selling my dignity for $1 a month. That's the point of that right now.
Jimmy used to do it for free. So what's that cough?
That's a good point. This is good capitalism right here. I've learned. Just can't give away the goods for free.
Thank you, Spaghetti, for the voicemail. And once again, everyone, the voicemail line is below. Please, if you want to leave us a voicemail, we do love listening to them, especially like our buddies out there who like to leave us long ones in the middle of the night. We love them.
This sounds like there could have been some beer behind it. And guys like, you know what? This is a fucking travesty.
That's what we encourage. The more under the influence, the more we want to hear from you.
Brings out the honesty. That's what we need.
Chamber, speaking of under influence, how did the mango Ritas?
You know what? It's not bad. It's nothing super special or amazing. It doesn't really remind me of Rita's Water Ice, but it is a nice blonde ale, super smooth to drink with a nice touch of mango to it. I think like when I first started sipping it, it was just like so not what I was expecting. So I was like, brr, like it kind of shorted me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But the more I drank of it, I had 2 of them, and they're only 5%, so it's not like I'm super buzzed or anything.
Yeah.
But no, it's enjoyable, solid.
Nice. Yeah. I won't say anything about LaCroix because it's goddamn LaCroix. But no, I am jealous, and I definitely will be getting. I hope they do other flavors though, not just mango. I like mango, but as I said, you got to go cherry. Come on, what are you doing?
Yeah, true. Oh, also, we should have probably mentioned this earlier. Quick little aside announcement. We will be going to Too Many Games this weekend. By the time you're listening to this, it'll probably be day 1 of the event. We'll be there on Saturday, so if you see us walking around, come say hi.
Yep.
We will not be, because of Brian's condition and me having to wake up the next day and do a ton of shit, we won't be as drunk as we've been at past events, but we'll be there. We'll be having fun.
Yeah. So with that, everyone, we want to say thank you so much for listening and watching. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already subscribed, please do that. We would greatly appreciate it. Hit that notification bell so you can see all of our latest content. And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star rating. And if you do, we will read any comments you leave. With that, we want to say have a good night and cheers.
Cheers, everybody.